All right, welcome to another fucking podcast where two people decided that they were cool enough to have an internet thing. I'm Blondie.
I'm Angel.
We have fake names because I don't want internet people to find out who I am, because I'm going to be telling, stories and swearing and being myself, and I don't really like my boss to know that I do bad shenanigans.
Yeah, of course not.
I feel like there's so many people who go by Blondie and Angel on the internet. And if you're like, ooh, I'm going to figure out who you are.
You can try.
You can really try.
I really want you to.
I highly doubt you'll figure it out. But that's not the point. That's why I don't have a camera. That's why I'm not saying my real name. It's just I wanted to do this podcast for a long time because I like to talk.
I also like to talk.
Which is why I decided that you would be the best person for this. I just figured that, instead of telling the same 5 stories to you, I could just tell you the same 5 stories.
But have other people
have other people hear me because, again, self-centered Gen Z kids over here.
Yeah, of course.
When a 20-year-old runs out of things to do,
they start a podcast.
Yeah, the most logical answer is a podcast.
Yeah.
And there's like so many. I don't know who started podcast. No idea. Didn't do any research. I just decided, I'll get software.
No one cares about the history.
I'll get a mic and I'll just start talking. And that's what I decided to do. And that's literally this whole channel. All the art that you see, I hand drew really shitty on my own phone. The other reason I'm not doing a camera is I don't want people to make fun of my setup.
Yeah.
I don't want people to be like,
setup.
She's using that mic. She's got an ugly door. Like, she's got an ugly
door.
Outfit. Like, I don't want people to make fun of me. Like, if they're already going to make fun of me. In general, because it's the internet.
So why give them
more ammo.
Yeah.
That's why I never got the, roast me signs.
It's because people think that, they can't be roasted because, attractive girls do it, but they don't realize that they look like a certain celebrity or they look like a certain porn star or something, or that they, do have stuff wrong with them. They're just super conceited and they're like, haha, roast me. And then when they do get roasted, they're like, huh.
Yeah, I don't like people being mean to me. So yeah. I would never subject myself to that, because I'm fine with people joking around and making fun of me, if we're friends. But if you're a stranger on the internet and you're like, your face is dumb, I'm going to be like, oh, why?
Oh.
It makes me upset. I don't want that.
I don't like that.
I don't like that at all. So today I thought we would talk about something we're both very interested in, which is, supernatural-esque kind of things, like psychics and ghosts and those sort of dealios, Because, you have a really strong intuition.
Yeah.
Scary
strong.
It's terrifying. I don't have that. I literally, I fuck myself up all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, nothing could have prevented this.
Nothing could have told me that this would happen.
But you'll be in the car and you'll be like, something bad is going to happen.
And then something bad happens.
And then, our friend will text us and be like, my dog died.
Yeah, or, a lot of the times it's, not anything, something bad is going to happen. It's, something specific. When I predicted our friend's breakup, a month before. And
that was sad.
And, how I predicted it.
Yeah, you were like, they're going to break up because XYZ, and then
XYZ was true, and then XYZ
called
happened.
us and was like, it happened, and I was like, whoa.
I was there when it happened. I was, with him, but it was crazy.
Yeah, so your intuition is a lot better than mine.
I mean...
Your gut your gut feeling.
It's kind of freaky, though, because I'll be in, a regular situation, like I was with... Guitar. Let's call him Guitar.
Guitar's a good name.
Yeah. And I just had this gut feeling for 2 days. And I was like, okay, this is going to happen. And exactly what I fucking thought was going to happen happened.
But you don't think yourself as a psychic?
I don't think it's anything like that. But it's just this weird
gut feeling.
Yeah. And it's
the human body is incredible. Sometimes some people have it and some people fucking... it's like sense of direction. I don't have a good sense of direction.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, where the fuck I'm going.
I have no idea. My sister and my mom are super good, and my mom always gets, pissy with me, because I'm like, I'm lost, I'm using the GPS, and she's like, how are you lost? Just take 8 rights and, 2 lefts, and I'm like...
When you enter the wrong address, it's go to my doctor.
I'm so bad at it. I'm always so bad at it. It's why I don't like to drive very much.
That's understandable.
But, so, do you believe in, psychics fully?
Partly. I feel like you said earlier, that there are some, but I don't think they make a business out of it.
I want them to be real so badly. Like, oh my god.
But there's not ever going to be a psychic that can, like, tell you your future.
Well, there's, like, an internet one. There's, like, a YouTuber guy who, like, apparently is super good. I've seen a couple BuzzFeed. But I don't... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're like, oh, he said the name of my like, something I've never told anybody. And I was like, did he, though?
Did he really, though?
I have no idea. Like, there's the Psychic Twins on YouTube also. Mm-hmm. I just feel like if anyone's truly psychic... I don't know if you would boast. It's like a superpower. Why would you boast about a superpower?
And there's a lot of, like, hate towards, like, things like that as well, where it's like, you know, you think that you're some kind of, like...
God.
Yeah, and, like, people are like, oh, you're the Antichrist because of, like, your powers and shit like that. And, like, powers is such a weird word to, like, actually say, and, like, oh, I have powers, because...
Because it sounds so science fiction.
Yeah, it just sounds, like, stupid.
It sounds so fake, like... Yeah, I have. Like, I used to say my superpowers. I could shave my legs without getting cut, and I could do it really fast. Yeah, I can. I mean, that's not a superpower. That's me practicing over years and years and years.
And if I were to say like, hey, my power is my intuition, and like I know what's gonna happen. Like I know what's gonna happen. Like why, and like sometimes it's like a month before. Sometimes it's like 2 days before.
Yeah, you can't really... I've seen you, like, be like, oh, it's gonna happen, and then it's a month later, and you're like... Was it the thing or was it a coincidence? I know that there are definitely some... I would love to go to a palm reader. I've never been to a palm reader or a psychic, but I've always wanted to, because there's this thing, you know, called, like, cold readings, where they would look at somebody, and they'd be like, oh, you have, you know, green hair... They'd like, see you have, like... Let's say it's a girl, 20s, green hair, she's wearing a low-cut shirt and, like, a really spiky belt and black boots, like combat boots. Yeah. And she's got, like, an eyebrow, like a small eyebrow bar. They would be like, you're a creative type, but you don't let that take over. You're more of a creative on the weekends, and you have a very important, like, you're very important in your job, and, like, you have a more business practice. And she'd be like, holy shit. But it's really, they see that, like, you know, colored hair, piercings, tattoos, that means you're a creative type. Especially if you have, like, tattoos on your arms, it means you're doing something, or, like, you know, visible ones, like, big ones on your arms, on your fingers, on your, like, palms. That means that you're, like, you're a creative person, but you don't have a very business job. Like, maybe you're an artist, you're a chef, you do something that doesn't require, like, a dress code. Yeah. But if you have, like, smaller tattoos, and they're places that are super easily hidden, like your back, or, like, your stomach area, or even, like, lower, like, your chest almost, they're going to be like, oh, you are a creative person, but you have, like, a regular business job.
But also, like,
you can do cold readings super easily.
Yeah, like, I could do that to, like, anybody.
Exactly, and that's what a lot of these fake psychics do, is they'll look at somebody and just based off, because, you know, appearance is huge. Yeah. And based off of appearance, they'll be like...
Especially, like, now, because we're also, like, woke, quote-unquote, and, like, people are a lot more, like, expressive with their hair and their tattoos and, like, their piercings and, like, you know, their fashion in general. So it's kind of easy to say, like, oh, well, you know, I have purple hair and, like, bangs, and, like, I have tattoos and stuff that are in, like, semi-visible places. It would be easy for someone to say, like, oh, you have daddy issues, or, like, something like that.
Someone looks at us and they're like, yeah, you guys got daddy issues, don't you? And I'm like...
It's always true. Like, I never... Like, oh, my God.
I love my dad, but God, he's so annoying.
I don't even know what my dad is fucking doing.
It's just... I have to take my good dad offered to help me with my car. Oh. Because it's making that thing. Yeah, it's, like, noise. It's, like, rattling, and I'm like, Dad, what do I do? And he's like...
Back to our topic of paranormal things. I wanted to bring up, like, how my intuition started. Okay. Which was, like, when my brother, like, died.
Such a harsh... Like, everybody's waiting for it to be, like, I fell into, like, a pile of rocks.
I went to Christian camp.
Nope. And... Dead brother.
No, I had a dead brother.
Welcome to another fucking podcast where... We do the hard topics, like dead brothers.
Like dead brothers.
Oh, we put a trigger warning, I guess.
No.
Sorry.
Don't.
Sorry if you have a dead brother, but this is...
But this is my time to shine.
How many times am I going to say dead brother?
I don't know. Take a shot every time Blondie says dead brother.
Sorry.
Okay, so the weird part about it was, and this sounds stupid, like, sorry, 1 second. This sounds fucking, I'm sorry! This sounds stupid, but, like, as soon as, you know, I started being, like, conscious again and, like, not grieving as hard as I was, that's when I started getting, like, the day that it happened.
Sorry, even
I hate when you do
Finger
that.
or thumb?
I hate when you do
Finger
that.
or thumb? It's
Thumb.
a wish. Oh, you get a wish if I whip it on
God.
blue. Wow.
I just want Subway.
Well, you don't get Subway. It's
Anyways.
gross.
And, like, the day that it happened, I knew that something bad was going to happen. Like, I woke up and I told my mom, like, hey, something really bad is about to happen, and I don't know what. And then later that day, when it was happening, she was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm sorry, Mom.
Oh, did she think, like, you knew something?
She thinks that I either, like, jinxed it or that I knew something about it. And
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought that your mom is looking at you like you knew and didn't do anything to stop it. Because you weren't very old.
No, I wasn't. But, that's part of why I think it does have something to do with, like, not necessarily powers, but, like, something, like, maybe supernatural. Maybe it's, like...
Yeah, because you think maybe it was your brother who, like...
Yeah, like, who was giving me, like, small, like, signs or, like, something like that. Like, just, like, you know, but it's... The thing about it is it's not always about me. Like, when it was about, like, our friend's breakup and, like, sometimes when it's, like, about you or, you know,
It's about different things.
Yeah, it's about random shit. So I don't really know how to pinpoint it. But, leading off of that, do you believe in ghosts?
I do believe in ghosts because I'm agnostic, so I don't necessarily know if there's any afterlife, but I like to say I'm like a positive sort of thinking,
Like an optimistic?
like an optimistic agnostic person.
That's a fun word.
Isn't that? I just think it's way more fun to think about if there was like an afterlife. Now, I've never personally, like, I had a couple ghost experiences. Like, my old house, my brother's room, we thought was haunted because the door would lock. And it was like one of those old school locks where, like, you have to have, like, a long rod, like one of those thin, long rods to lock in it. So we never locked them because you could, like, you had to lock it like that. So there had, like, an old man did die in the house. Like, he died from old age, or, like, I know there's no such thing as dying from old age anymore, but he died in his bed, in his sleep.
Yeah.
And that door would always, like, randomly lock. So we always thought, and, like, sometimes little things would move, but I had a roommate with kids. Like, she had kids, so we were always like, oh, the kids move it, whatever. But, like, sometimes things would just fall. And, like,
That's
of course,
scary.
it would be little things. Like, it would be toys a lot. That's what was weird. It was never, like, pots or pans or plates or cups. It was toys. Every fucking time. It was toys. And, like, my sister said one time she was sitting there and she watched, like, a little, like, Charmander figurine just, like, fall. And she was just, like, she freaked out because, like, she believes in ghosts, too, because my whole family's pretty superstitious.
Yeah.
But that door used to lock all the time. And, like, we would never, we would, like, pound on it and try to get in, and we would have to just, like, wait, and suddenly it would pop, and, like, we could unlock it and get in. So that was always, like, a weird thing. The other reason why I thought that it was some kind of child ghost, like, the old man, I feel like he wasn't there, but I feel like there was some kind of kid spirit.
Yeah.
Or something, or maybe the old man, because one of my roommate's kids would do this, like, super creepy thing.
What?
He would take all of his toys and make crop circles. So, like, he would have, you know, kids have, like, the little toys. So he would have, like, dinosaurs, right?
Yeah.
He would make perfect circles on the floor. And it would be, like, an outline with the dinosaurs, and then smaller dinosaurs, smaller, until he had, like, the smallest one in the middle. And it was super, like, perfect circles, I'm telling you. Like, they weren't, like, kids, like, they looked weirdly perfect. And the weirdest thing is he would do them when people would fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like, if you fell asleep on the couch, you would wake up and have, like, 4 crop circles near you.
That's weird, and I don't like
Like, he
it.
would just sit there, and, like, the weird part is, I never saw him do it. Like, I'd sit there and see him playing with it, and then if I fell asleep, I'd wake up, and there'd be, like, a crop circle of, like, little cows.
Yeah.
And it was so fucking weird.
That sounds really
and I was like,
awful.
he also liked to, like, steal knives and hide them. So I was like,
Behavioral
I can't
issues?
tell if this kid is, like, just, like, acting up, because he was only, like, 6.
Well, the thing about, like...
Or if, like, maybe a ghost was telling him to build, like, crop circles.
The thing about, like, ghosts and stuff is it usually, like... you know, if they are real, it's usually, like, depicted as, like, younger people because, you know, those are the people who, like, have unfinished business, quote unquote, and, like, who have something to, like, be angry about. Like, the old man ghost, the fact that he's not there, that just kind of, like, proves that topic even more, or that idea even more.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he didn't have a reason to stick around. And, like, that's why I don't feel like my grandfather's presence versus, like, my brother's presence.
Yeah.
And
I've never had somebody close to me die.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing, because I'm 20 years old, and I knew, like, both of my great-grandparents. I knew both of them.
Yeah.
Like, both sides, I mean. Like, I didn't know my great-grandpa on my mom's side, but he died when my grandma was, like, 14 or something. Like, he died way before I was born. So, like, when they died, I was like, well, I didn't see them that often. Like, I just remember they gave me, like, bananas and fudge and, like, were nice to me.
Yeah.
One of them had Alzheimer's and, like, didn't remember us half the time. Like, when they died, I was like, they're really old. Because I was, like, 8. And I was like, they're really old. They're supposed to die.
Yeah.
I've never had anyone close. Like I have all my living grandparents. I have all my siblings, aunts, uncle, like, cousin. I've never had anyone close to me die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I don't, like, I believe in ghosts, but I don't think I would ever notice a ghost present because I've never had somebody, like that die around me.
And the thing about, like, my, like, sibling side of the family, you know, because I'm, like, technically they're, like, half sibling, because we have, like, different dads, is the, like, that side of the family is, like, super fucked, like, with drugs and, like, alcoholism, and so is, like, my mom's, like, side of the family, but, with, like, mental health issues, and, like, it's so common for us to be like, oh, well, our cousin, like, John died because, you know, he was suicidal, or, like, our aunt, like, Maribel fucking, you know, died because she was,
My
like,
family has mental issues. They just don't believe in therapy.
yeah, she was, like, overdosed or something like
They're
that.
like,
and
do you have
like,
depression? Have you tried going outside?
can you, like, exercise?
Have you tried eating an
like,
avocado?
Don't
And
get
I'm
me
like,
fucking
all right.
wrong, like, you know, diet and exercise does have, like, things to do. Yeah, an impact on, like, your body and, like, how you feel and, like, your head and everything, but, like, also when you have, like, a clinical depression, like, when nothing is, like, specifically causing it.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do other than, like, medication that fixes, like, your serotonin levels and, like, regulates, like, your brain's, like, patterns and everything. You can't really fix that with, like, exercise and breathing and stuff like that. But have you ever had, like, a paranormal experience that was, like, affecting you personally?
I don't know if this is a paranormal. I don't know if I've told this story ever to you. I'm not sure. Okay, so for my birthday this last year, my sister was like, hey, I want to take you to Asheville, to the mountains, so we can go, like, hot tubbing and have a good time. So my sister, her fiance, and my boyfriend, we all went. And Asheville is super expensive and busy, so we drove, like, 30 minutes away into the mountain area. And we get there, and my sister is really weird, and we think it's just, like, elevation, you know, because we kept going back and forth. So she felt, like, you know, disconnected the whole time, she told me, and she was freaked out because, like, the locals were weird, and we had some trouble, like, finding the place, and, like, it was just, like, kind of a weirder, eerie kind of place, because that's when you go out to the mountains.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in a horror movie.
Yeah.
But I remember one of the nights that we were there, I went to bed with my boyfriend, and we were, like, I remember laying in bed, we went to sleep, and I had this, like, I had sleep paralysis.
Yeah, you did tell me about that.
Yeah, so I had sleep paralysis, and I was laying there, and I look up, and I can't move, and I see him above me.
Yeah.
My boyfriend, he's like, hey, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And he's, like, reaching out for me, and I was like, what do you mean go? We can't go anywhere, like, we're staying for the weekend. And he's like, we need to go now. Come on, we need to go. And then I look at him, and I'm like, you're not my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And he went, what are you talking about? And he, like, gets really angry and defensive. And my boyfriend's very level-headed.
Yeah.
He's very sweet. He doesn't get riled up fast, so this was, like, weird. And I was like, you are not my boyfriend. Get away from me. And he was like, shut up, and, like, getting mad at me and, like, yelling at me.
Yeah.
And I finally was like, okay. And I was like, Curls. This is not his real name, obviously. And I started shouting his names. I was like, Curls, Curls, Curls. And, like, I could move my one hand. And I started tapping him a bunch. And I said, Curls. And he said, whoa, what? I was like, turn on the light now. Turn on the light right now. And, like, I could see, like, the fake him getting closer and closer to me. And he turned on the light, and it disappeared. And I sat up, and I was, like, heavy breathing. And I was telling him about what happened. And he was like, well, it's okay. Like, just go back to bed. So we turn off the light, and I, like, snuggle up. And I'm like, okay. And I go to bed. But then the next morning, I'm talking about it with my sister. And I'm like, yeah, you remember, like, Curls? I, like, woke you up, and, like, you turned on the light. And he looked at me, and he was like, no, that didn't happen. I didn't wake up last night at all. And I said, what? And he was like, I didn't turn on the light or anything. Like, I slept through the whole night. And I looked at my sister, and she's freaking out now because she's more superstitious than I am.
Yeah.
And she had a nightmare the night before at the same cabin. And then my sister's friends came over, and the girl and her boyfriend were there. And she was like, did you have a nightmare last night, Blondie? And I was like, yeah, I did. And she was like, I also had a nightmare last night.
I hate that for you.
So, like, we all three, and that was, like, I think our last night or second to last, so we were leaving, like, in a day or so, but we all three kind of sat there, and we were all, like, fucking so freaked out, because the fact that we all three could have had nightmares, because we were just, like, whatever.
In, like, a new place.
In a new place, elevation, whatever, there might have been alcohol, I don't remember, I'm underage, so there wasn't.
You know, there's no alcohol.
So it was just, like, a really freaky... That was what I think would be my only paranormal thing.
Yeah.
And, like, people talk about sleep paralysis all the time. But I 100% believe that if I had reached my hand out and went with the fake curls, that I would have died. Like, part of me is like, that was a ghost or a grim reaper of some sort, and he was trying to get you to die. Because if... He said, we have to go to the other... He literally was like, we have to go now. And I said, where are we going? And he's like, to the place. He, like, said either, like, to the place... Or, like, he didn't say, like, the other side.
Yeah.
Or anything, like, cliche. He, like, said, we have to go to the place. And I said, where is it? And he's like, we just have to go. Like, he wouldn't tell me where.
Yeah.
And that's when my brain was like, hey, superstitious lady.
So, this always happens. And, like, you're literally seeing this on my face right now. I'm not, like, upset. And I'm not scared.
You're just tearing up.
Yeah. Every time I talk about, like, superstitious shit. Or, like, I think about, like... my, like, sleep paralysis shit, I always tear up, and I'm fine. I'm completely fucking fine.
Sleep paralysis it's fucking scary.
No, but
many people have stuff like that happen.
Yeah, and I've had it since I was, like, 12 or 13, and, it's often, like, the same kind of looking thing. Like, it used to be, like, a smaller, like, kind of demonic looking, like, thing that would, like, crawl up my window and, like, stay on my ceiling and just kind of look at me, and it had, like, a really... eerie face. Like, it's just, like, shit that you would see on the internet, and it would, like, leave you, like...
Oh, I used to get freaked out by, like, the creepypastas.
Yeah.
I, like, watched 2 minutes of a creepypasta 10-minute video, and as soon as I saw the one that's, like, the white face with, like, the black hair and the red eyes, you know what I'm talking about? Some creepypasta.
Oh, Jeff?
I don't know what his name
Jeff
is.
the Killer.
But they were like, oh, this is him. I was like...
No,
I
but,
slammed
like,
my laptop down.
This wasn't... And, like, by that point, I wasn't, like, into anything, like, creepy or, like, scary like that. And I never really had seen anything like that. So I just kind of brushed it off as, like, oh, I have sleep paralysis. You know, I'm schizophrenic. That's just, like, a thing that happens to me. And then I moved from that house, and it's something different. And it's, like, this tall thing, like, you know, like, Slenderman or whatever.
Yeah.
It's, like, something of that kind of esque, but it's, like, fully black. It doesn't have, like, clothes on, but it doesn't have, like, a body that's, like, has a phallic member or anything either. So...
I'd be more freaked out
if I saw a fucking weenie. Also. But fucking... And it would just kind of sit, like, they've always just kind of sat there and stared at me or, like, said, like, simple things like, you need to wake up, or, like, you need to stop moving, or, like, you need to stop struggling, because, you know, I wouldn't think I was moving, but, you know, I would be trying to. And then when I, like, would talk about it more with, like, my mom and, like, my psychiatrist or, like, psychologist, whatever the fuck gives me meds, whoever that is, they were like...
my drug dealer.
Yeah, my drug dealer. They were like, are you sure it's not, like, something paranormal that you've, like, messed with in the past? And, like, I'm a goth bitch.
You kicked a baby grave.
I kicked a baby grave, but that was, like, way after.
That
was not an accident. I didn't know it would break.
The worst thing you possibly could.
Yeah.
I told you, ghosts were gonna follow
But
you.
anyways.
You had bad luck.
And then I moved again here. and it's like the same thing, but like now it like opens like a door, and it comes in and it closes the door, and it's like really more active looking, and it like, I'm like, see, I'm tearing up, but I'm not scared, I'm not sad, I'm not like,
I'm not tearing up, but I'm also freaked out.
This is why it like confuses me, and this is why it makes me think that it's something like present, you know.
Ooh, that'd be
because every time I talk about it, I tear up. It's grown
with you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. That'd be a weird thought, that like it's some kind of entity. Because, you know, some people think ghosts are, they think they're like from other dimensions.
Mm-hmm. Like they're on
like
a different
parallel
plane.
Universes, and they accidentally slip into ours.
Yeah.
And like people think that we probably slip into theirs too, and that's what happens when we like, if you like, you know, you trip over nothing. Yeah. You're in their world and you accidentally knock something over, or like you knock something over but it doesn't fall over.
Or like you go into a room and you forget what you went in the room for.
Yeah, they think that that could be like parallel universe sort of dimensional shit. Like you don't know what, like you don't know you're doing it and they don't know you're doing it. And that's maybe why they're wearing different clothes, is because
I mean, it's not even that he's wearing clothes at all. Mm-hmm. It's just like this solid black like being, and like its only like features are like really long, like kind of pointed fingers, but they're like sturdy. They're not like furry or anything, and he has like really small like blank red eyes, and they're not like menacing or anying.
They just look like little like fireflies.
No, they just look like red circles.
Your eyes, fireflies.
Lit up. But like, it's never
like that song.
The only like I only experienced something moving around so much, and I lived at my last house for like 3 years. Mm-hmm. Something moving around so much, other than when I was like 13, and you know it would literally crawl in my window, and it was super small, and like sit on the ceiling and stare at me. That was the most. But this thing, like, comes in, moves around, messes with whatever. And then the craziest thing is, like, 2 nights ago I had it, and that was closed. Like, this drawer that I'm pointing at right now, that you guys can't see because I
Imagine a drawer.
Yeah. Imagine a drawer on a desk was closed. And then I have sleep paralysis, and I see let's call him my guy. I see my guy, like, messing with the desk, like, over there, and I hear it open. And then the next morning it was open.
Yeah, and
that could easily be like my roommate just opening the drawer like while I was asleep, and I just didn't see her, or I was having sleep paralysis.
Yeah,
I like blocked her out or something like that. But it also
could not, because like that's the thing. A lot of people with supernatural just you brush it off.
Yeah,
you're like I'm a heavy believer, but I don't have any concrete evidence. So like 9 out of 10 times, if it's not, like, concrete, I'm going to brush it off and be like, with my sleep paralysis, I was just like, oh, I was probably just having a weird dream. It was probably the elevation. It was probably the fact that we had been in a hot tub a bunch of times.
Yeah.
We may or may not have had alcohol. I don't know.
Like, there's no alcohol because you're like, oh, no, right.
Yeah, so, like, it could be, well, who knows? So, like, I think it is, like, people's first nature, even superstitious people, except for my mom. My mom 100% is like, no. Ghosts are real. My mom believes this is such a dumb thing that I super don't want to believe in, but part of me can't not do it. My mom says you should never have a full-length mirror in front of you, like in your bedroom, like where it can see you when you sleep. Like if you have a full-length mirror, she says it's fine, but it should never be pointed at you when you sleep. Yeah. Because to quote her, ghosts and fuckers come out of that.
You see this shit? You see this shit?
Yeah, you are tearing.
Literally,
always, like it's only with like stuff like this. It's very weird.
And it's like when I cry, like my face gets red and I like get upset like physically, but I'm literally
imagine a lovely lady whose eyes are just tearing up, but their face isn't red, and it's like,
and they're just chilling. Like I'm not upset. Like I'm just. Talking.
Yeah, my mom. She's always believed. She's very superstitious. She's always been superstitious. She always made me like do little things like that, and like I didn't have a full-length mirror in my room ever. She's never had one, and anytime I'm somewhere where one's facing the bed or something, I always turn it around.
Yeah, that's
and I hate that because I don't want to be like this. And my boyfriend always makes fun of me because he's not very superstitious, and he's like, "Why do you do these things?" Like I used to do this thing where I would tap the door. Yeah. Do you remember when I used to do that? I would tap both sides of like the entranceway the doorknob twice, and then the actual part of the door twice. So, like, in 4 parts, like, tap, 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 tap. Because I thought if I didn't, something would happen to me when I was walking through it. I like, trained myself out of it. Because I was like...
Because, like, you do that in public, and someone's like...
I just hated explaining it to people. Because I just felt so crazy and weird.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when... Like, you've been my friend for, like, years, and we've gotten, like, super close, and, like, so you're used to, like, my, like, sleep paralysis, like, my skits, and, like...
All your kinks and weird
stuff.
Yeah, my
kinks and weird shit that's wrong with me. So, like, when I talk to you about it, you're like, yeah, that makes sense, and, like, when... You're, like, also, like, superstitious. So, when I do talk about, like, oh, that drawer might have been opened by something that, you know, isn't here right now, that I can see, at least, but, like, might be, like, present... You're not like, that's fucking crazy, you're stupid.
And I think that does come with, like, I don't know. For me, it's growing up. Because I don't think my dad was very superstitious, but I hung out with my mom a lot. And she's always been this way. She's always been superstitious. She's always been really into, like, the supernatural kind of thing. She's always believed in ghosts. She's always believed in, like, spirits and different things like that. And that's why she's weird about things. And she'll, like, say... I think she knows, like, 2 Latin phrases that are supposed to, like, ward off demons.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to burn sage and rosemary.
Sage smells so good. Sorry, I just like herbs.
You're fine. When I was a kid, I used to mix, like, a bunch of different shit in, like, boiling water. And it was always just, like, random shit. My mom never understood why I did it.
Yeah, so where do you think you got your superstition? Because mine was obviously from my mom. I don't think my brother is superstitious. I think it's my mom and my sister and I are. Because we're weird about, like, mirrors, and we're weird about, like, I'm trying to think, like, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. Because, like, there are some things we aren't, like, black cats. We don't care about those kind of things. But, like, my mom, she makes us eat black-eyed peas and collard greens on the New Year, because it's supposedly good luck to bring you, like, money and happiness and stuff. And that's, like, a weird little... superstition that she does.
I don't really know. I think part of it was I've always had that, like, inclination to like ghosts and paranormal things, and, like, I've always been interested in it. None of my family is really superstitious. Like, my siblings weren't.
My grandma is. So, like, I think it's a family thing.
My grandparents are very, like, Christian and religious, so they have no kind of, like, essence of, like, oh, well, like, this is this, and, like, this is, like, a devil, or, like, anything like that. They're just, like, God will protect us no matter what, and that's fair, but I'm not personally, like, Christian or, like, like, at least religious in a sense of that. Like, I'm Wiccan. Yeah. And, like, that's, like, a witchy kind of, like, whatever, belief kind of thing. And, you know, they do have different gods and, like, entities that they believe in, and I don't really have anything specific, because, like, the whole Wicca, like, premise is you take care of you and, like, the earth, and you're, like, aware of yourself and, like, your surroundings and things like that. And, like, there is, like, the witchy aspect of it that I have, like, indulged in with, like, spells and, like, stuff like that.
I love that. I always wanted to do that as a kid. Like, I always wanted to figure it out, because that's a big thing with religion with me, is I don't have time to, like, read. Like, I don't. Yeah. I feel like that's why I like being agnostic, because the whole vibe is, like, maybe there's something, maybe there's not, but you're mostly just not focused on religion. Because I feel like Wicca is, like, something you, like, put time and energy into. And, like...
It's a lot of energy.
It's a lot of work. And that's, like, a lot of religions. Like, there's a lot of work that you have to put in, and beliefs and studying and stuff. And, like, if you didn't grow up with it, that's, like, a whole nother, like, hump to get over.
Yeah, it was. It was, especially with, like, a Christian family.
Yeah, because, like, they're going to be like...
Yeah, and I've never told any of my family, like, that I'm Wiccan or anything like that. But, like, all of my friends are aware of it, and, like, some of them are like, oh, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah, because it kind of...
Which is fair.
It kind of sounds like a classic, like, middle school kid.
Yeah.
Like, but, I mean, my sister's Buddhist.
Yeah.
And she's, a white girl, so people look at her and think, oh, she's just going to put a Buddha over here and say...
Live, laugh, love on her
Yeah,
wall,
but she literally, like, in high school, she learned about it and was like, I really like the religion. She researched it. Yeah. She figured it out. She, like, looked at it, and she, like, does some of the practices of it. She doesn't do everything. Yeah. But then, like...
But then again, Christians don't do everything.
I was going to say, some Christians don't do everything. And her main thing is that, like, you know, she likes the main cores of Buddha, and she really likes, like she believes in reincarnation, and she like believes that all life is like kind of important.
That's a cool aspect. You know, I've always had like a hunch about reincarnation.
I don't know if I want it to be real.
I don't know if I want it to be real
I'd rather just kick it with all my friends when I'm like a dead person.
Because, you know, there's part of me that is like, I'm an old soul. I always have been, because I can't, you know, exactly remember if it's because of like all the things that I've been through in my life, or if it's because like literally I've lived a life before. And like with that, you know, like belief, with that belief, it's like, where do new souls come in? Are there any new souls? Where did they like start?
Yeah.
And like,
is it
where
a new
do the
thing?
old souls like die? And
do you like have to go through like 200 lives to like hang out in heaven?
Or is there just like, it's because there's more and more people being born. Mm-hmm. And
so
like,
are they all new? Is it like, I wonder the same thing about reincarnation. Like, where's the stopping point?
Yeah.
Where does the like point begin where people have lived a billion lives and they're done? Because humanity has been going on for a long fucking time. So if reincarnation is true, are we all the same? Like, are we those like, let's say it's 150. Are we the same 150 that like started out? Or are we like...
But like the problem with that is like it would never stay 150 because of like we repopulate.
Exactly. So like you would have people dying.
Yeah.
And have people living like that. Yeah. So that's why I question about reincarnation too, because I want to know.
And then
like,
it also
is it where do the new souls come from?
Yeah, and like have I always been like, you know, the edgy kind of like person that I am? Like, have I always had like this personality?
Did I have a racist past?
Yeah.
Was I like a shitty person?
Yeah.
In my,
like was I murdered? Like,
I live in America. I'm a white person, and I'm pretty okay right now mentally. I mean, I have my issues, but like, if I was, I'm either a new soul because I'm starting off pretty high tier. Yeah. Like, I know my privilege. I have, like, I'm not the kind of person who's like...
That could also be like an old soul thing, though.
Oh, because knowing my
they're
privilege.
Like aware.
That's true. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm just aware that like, now, please do not think like, oh, this is some bored rich girl. My family is not well off.
No, you are not well off.
We have never been well off. I just remember, it could also be my parents' teaching. My parents were always just like, be happy with what you have. Yeah. And that's always really like stuck with me, because like, I grew up in a small town. We did not have a lot. We lived paycheck to paycheck. I was unaware of this because my parents are cool and they didn't want to worry me, like, as an 8-year-old. But so, like, I had my grandparents helping out, and, like, my parents had jobs, and, like, we had a good time, and I always had nice birthdays and Christmases, and, like, you know, we had our dog, and it was a pretty, like, I had a great childhood. I just know we weren't crazy well off. But then again, I lived somewhere where I could, like, see homeless people, and, like, I could see neighbors who, like, couldn't afford as much. So I guess growing up, I just kind of knew, like, I already knew, hey, we're not the best off, but hey, we also have clothes and food, and I go to a pretty good school, and, like, I don't know if that's, like, that could just be with the whole soul thing. I might be a new soul, but my parents are old souls, so they, like, and that's weird about reincarnation, is, like, do they put the older ones with the newer ones so they can teach?
I don't know. See, that's another thing.
Could somebody, like, reincarnate once and, like, whoever's in charge be like, you lived a great life on your first try. Yeah, you're good. You don't have to do it again.
And, like, another thing is, like, do they stay, like, within, like, the same region? Because, like, people from, like, let's say South Africa, they have completely different, like, beliefs and, like, ethics and, like, ways of doing things. Mm-hmm. And... you know, everybody has, like, something that they do that's weird. Like, whether it be, like, the way that you brush your teeth or, like, the way that you eat certain foods. There's always some, like, weird thing about someone. Mm-hmm. And it would be interesting to think of it in the sense of, like, oh, they just came from, like, another part of the country where they do
where that's, like, a normal. Yeah, like left-handed people. Yeah. Like, lefties and righties, because there's some parts of the country where you're not supposed to use your left hand for anything. And, like... So, that's an interesting thought. I never even thought about that. Like, when you do something weird, it's because you could have been reincarnated from, like, an entirely different place. Yeah. That's a weird thought. That's so, like, that kind of stuff is, like... yeah. So, thinking about reincarnation is weird, because, like, there's so much information of speculate, but nobody knows, because how would you
knows
know
anything?
If somebody tells you, hey, I remember my past lives, I'm gonna look at them and be like, that person is crazy.
Yeah.
There's no way, because, like, there's no way to prove it.
Yeah.
And that's the worst and the best part about
the craziest thing,
believing stuff.
Is there are kids who are like, I remember my past life, or they'll give you some weird random name of someone who's like not like even relevant. Kids
are fucking creepy.
And then they'll like describe to you a life, and then you'll look it up, and it's like fucking true.
Kids are like weird with like that, and that's what I think is like, and that's my biggest issue with kids, is like, it's so obnoxious, because like they have all these amazing things that they could be like, oh, these could be true, it could be like that, but they all are fucking liars sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what makes me so mad, because like adults are liars, obvious, everybody lies, but like kids, like that kid who was like, heaven is for real.
Yeah, he lied.
He lied about that entire thing, and he said things that were so incredible and like so true about things you would never think he knew, but it turns out he did know about them. His parents just didn't. Like, he like said stuff about his grandfather and some other stuff, and like you were like, oh, it is true because he said all this stuff he couldn't possibly have known about. And that's the worst part, is he shouldn't have known about them, but he like overheard his parents and just didn't tell them,
or his parents conditioned him to say
like kids will lie for attention because they're kids, and that's the worst. Is that's why it sucks, because you can't always believe kids, because they're gonna lie.
Yeah. Because
they're small children who are developing.
Yeah.
And you can't blame them for that. Like, they're developing. They don't know. They don't know that lying is something that you shouldn't do.
This also, like, makes me wonder about, like, mental, like, health and disorders and stuff like that. Because I know that, like, let's say, like, clinical depression is caused by, like, a lack of serotonin. Sure. But, like, schizophrenia, for example, there's not a specific reason. Like, it's been, like, said that trauma can cause it. And, like, you know, certain aspects of, like, someone's life, or, like, even, like, movies and, like, things that kids have read have been, like, blamed for, like, their skits later on in their life. But there's not a real, like, there's not proof of it being led to something else. So it brings me back to that, like, old soul thing. Like, has there always been, like, that weird kink about them where they see shit that's not there, where they hear shit that's not there? But then that could also be that there's just another fucking plane of existence that's there that they can see for some weird fucking reason.
That's my big thing with mental health, is I'm like, is it trauma, or is it like everybody is messed up, but the people who are more healthy just have no idea?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that I had mental issues until I really, like, sat back and, like, looked, because I don't have them. Like,
Yeah.
I have some depressional issues. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
All my siblings and I, we all have, like, depression, and so does my dad, which is definitely where we got it from.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not horrible. Like, I'll have weeks where I won't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And I have to force myself to do stuff. Like, I just have no motivation. There was a time in high school where there's just a whole month where I just didn't do anything. I didn't fail any classes, but I, like, didn't do homework. I didn't do well on tests. I just didn't want to do anything. So, like, I know that I have some, like, depressional stuff, and, like, that's okay. But, I mean, I didn't notice it, so I'm wondering if, like, everyone calls them mental issues and mental health problems, but I'm wondering if every human brain is like this. Some people are worse than others, so you just don't notice it if, like, say you're a healthy person.
I also...
Like, is it truly a healthy person? Or
I also think that there's, like, a stigma with it, where people are like, I don't want to be mentally unhealthy because, you know, their family has, like, issues with it, or, like, their friends around them that, like, have issues with it. And then there's also, like, the idea that when you believe that you have something, or when you are diagnosed with something, then you're gonna, like,
it's gonna be 100% worse.
Yeah,
too, and you're gonna be like, this explains everything wrong with me.
And then you start falling into this loop where it's like, this is the reason that this happened, and then you have opportunities to blame that, you know, event or whatever emotion that you're feeling on whatever problem you've been diagnosed with, or that you believe you have. Like, when you're feeling, like, sick, you look up your symptoms on, like, WebMD, and it's like, you have cancer.
And you're like, oh, God,
I guess I have cancer. You know, that's just, like,
so could mental issues just be, like, a different plane of... Like, it could just be, like, you know, a reincarnation snag. Or I like the idea of, like, a different plane. Ooh, what? You just got an epiphany.
Yeah.
I just saw that. I saw that in your eyes.
You know, like, that thing where it's, like, life is a simulation and, like, there are glitches.
Oof.
And, like, you know, there are those, like, instances where, like, as a kid, you're not tired. You close your eyes, and then you open your eyes 2 seconds later, and you're awake, and you smell pancakes being made downstairs. Like, have you ever, like, experienced, like, falling asleep like that and, like, not even being tired, and then you wake up out of nowhere?
Well, I used to do this thing when I was a kid. I'm such a weird fucking kid. Everybody's gonna be like, this bitch was fucking... I was so weird. Warning. The rest of the podcast, like, other ones that we're gonna do, I'm gonna talk about some of the weird shit I did, because I did a lot of weird stuff as a kid. But one of the things I would do is before I go to bed, I'd be like, I'm gonna remember this because I'm talking about it, and I said I'm gonna remember it. And then I'd fall asleep, and I'd remember that conversation that I had with myself. Because I would freak myself out with memory, because, like, you wouldn't normally remember a conversation until you put, like a note on it, you know, like a pin. And I would just do that to see if it worked. And then I would do it where I was like, I would just go to bed, and then I wouldn't remember conversations. Because I also used to sleep talk, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I would be like, I remember this memory from, like, fucking 10, 15 years ago of childhood me being like, I'm going to remember this because I'm saying it, and my memory is going to categorize... Like, I didn't say it as smart because I was a stupid kid, but I was like, I'm going to remember this because I'm marking it as important right now.
Yeah.
And I still remember doing it.
No.
And I still remember
Here's the weird thing.
And it makes me feel weird that young me was like...
I used to take, like, mental pictures. Like, I remember one day I was in my mom's car, and I was laying back, and I was looking up at the trees, and I could see, like, the sun shining through them, and I was like, I like this feeling I have right now. I'm going to take a picture of it, and I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. And it's so vivid.
Kids are so weird.
And it's so, like... It's, like, so weird that I was just, like, I decided I wanted to remember it, but I studied for a fucking test. I can't remember shit. Yeah. Like, who the fuck is this? And then there are, like, those weird things that, like, you know, like, certain smells that take you back to, like, the most obscure fucking memories and, like,
and do you think that's, like, I don't know. I guess that can be explained from, like, humans. But I kind of feel like some of that stuff can be the supernatural. Like,
I feel like sometimes there, like, some things that happen in your life that are, like, more prominent than others could be described as, like, you know, there's a reason behind it because something supernatural was happening, or, like, there was something weird about it that, like, you didn't really process, and you can't really process as an adult because you didn't realize it as a kid. But when you were a kid, that feeling, I mean, this is coming off as, like, such a shit post.
We went so off topic. Yeah. We started talking about mental issues and kids and, like, memory, and we got lost when it comes to the soul thing, but it's fine, because... What structure do we even have?
None. Look at us.
You were saying that, sorry.
No, it's fine.
I just thought it was funny that we were like, we're going to stay on topic of supernatural. And I guess we kind of did.
I mean, we are still on, like, the topic of that. But, like I was saying...
Broader subject.
They're, like... It's weird that, like, I can remember, like, the moment in that car. And it's weird, like, the first memory I can think of when I think of, like, my house when I was, like, 11 is I was in my garage one time, and there was just this is kind of gross. So... hear me out. There's just this dead baby bunny, like, laying on the ground in front of me. And I was confused as fuck because I didn't have a cat, and there was no, like, rodents or anything. I lived in a new house, so it wasn't like there was any, like, holes or anything. And I asked my brother about it, and he just kind of looked at me, and, you know, this could be, like, a big brother thing to do to, like, their little sister or whatever, but he was like... I thought you heard what was happening last night. Like, I thought you were downstairs. And it was such a weird thing for me to, like, for it to happen in general, and for me to, like, think of that as the first thing. Because I've had some really good memories and some really bad memories at that house. But for that to be, like, the sole, like, thing that I think of when I think of...
What do you think killed that bunny?
I don't know, because it was, like...
Like, do you think it was, like, one of your brothers? Or do you think it was, like...
No, because... Back then...
Something... Ooh, I don't like that thought. I don't like that thought of something creepy.
Because, like, that leads me back to, like, the whole...
The sleep paralysis?
Yeah. Because that's a physical thing. Like, the drawer being open, that's a physical thing that happened. And I've never been... I woke up with scratches once. And you know, that's back when I, like, lived with my cat, and she's never scratched me in my sleep ever.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of freaked me out, but I just kind of brushed it off because I don't have a reason to believe that anything has hurt me or been physical with me before, because I haven't experienced it, like, while I'm, like, awake,
when
having
you're conscious,
hallucinations and shit like
That's
that.
a weird part about sleep paralysis to me, is that, like, if it is something supernatural, you'll never fucking know, because you're gonna be like, you can just disprove it so easily by just being like, I was asleep. It was a weird sleepy boy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so easy to brush things off that are supernatural.
Yeah.
Because, like, you can.
You've also been conditioned to, like...
You've been conditioned. Like, Bigfoot. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
I used to believe in Bigfoot
I believe
so
in
hard.
Bigfoot. I want him to be... Again, I'm an optimist most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to be real. I want him to be real. I want Mothman to be real.
Mm-hmm.
I want all that kind of shit to be
I don't doubt
real.
that there's, like...
There's got to be,
a
like...
Bigfoot thing out there.
There's something that... Like, now, the guy who... So, I watched a lot of BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Mm-hmm.
And they did an episode on BuzzFeed. Non-sponsored. They did a thing on Bigfoot, and, like, apparently the guy who created it did it as a joke. Like...
What?
Apparently, the sons of the guy who discovered the Bigfoot tracks, they were like, he made a joke about it. He made a joke about it. It was a joke. But it was really kind of weird because, like... There were, like... So he was a construction worker, and he said he found these big feet. But there were, like, construction equipment, like, tipped over. And that's kind of far...
That's a little bit
to do a joke. Because, like, it was, like, large cranes and tractors and, like, dump trucks were, like, tipped over on their sides.
You know, like, those huge-ass trees that get shoved over?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there's no, like, reasonable explanation.
But I just feel like they didn't want the attention anymore. If anything, I believe he was, like... He did discover the Bigfoot thing, but everyone was like, you're a crazy person.
Yeah.
So, like, they were like, we don't want the reputation as crazy person's son. Like, that's... So, just, like, it's fake. It's all fake.
Yeah.
Like, it's a fake thing. But, like, knocking over construction equipment, it's kind of far. Kind of far for a joke.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just
this brings me to my favorite idea.
What?
Aliens.
Aliens.
Have you ever had an experience with any kind of alien contact?
No, because... So, when I was a kid...
We also have, like, only a couple more minutes. So maybe...
I mean, it's... If we go over a little, it's fine.
Yeah.
But, like, you know me. I love aliens.
I know you love aliens.
I love aliens so much. I love space. I love the thought of aliens. I like to think that they're really funny and chill dudes. Mm-hmm. But, like, when I was a kid, I was terrified of them.
Yeah.
Because I lived in a small fucking town. And where does everything happen? Small towns. I was, like, terrified. But, like, I've never had any sort of experience with, like... I've never seen lights in the sky. I've never had, like, any dreams like that. And that kind of is, like, not disappointing. But, like... So, I believe that, like, the thing that got me over my fear of aliens was, like, if they're super smart beings from a different planet and they want me, first of all, thank you. I feel flattered.
Thank you.
Second of all, there's nothing I can fucking do, so why be scared? Like, there's nothing I can do about it.
See, that's what scares me, is with the aspect of, like, an alien invasion. Like, I saw this movie Signs when I was a kid.
Yeah, Signs is what scared me.
There's abso-fucking-lutely nothing you can physically do. You can't hide yourself. You can't, like, run away.
You could potentially do what the characters did and, like, run and hide and maybe make it.
Like,
but, like, 10 out of 10,000 made it.
Yeah. And even, like, that 10... They could come back and easily just fucking wipe out.
It's like Independence Day. It's the same kind of deal.
And, you know,
with Signs, just a tangent here, small one. They can't stand water. They come to a planet that's like
70%
like 70% water. Also, I think it's funny. We're 70% water, and so is the Earth.
Wow,
isn't that cute?
That's so funny.
But yeah, why would they come to a planet that's full fucking? It's like us going to an acid planet.
Okay, but listen.
Continue. I just didn't like that. I just thought it was stupid.
That's understandable.
Continue on.
What the fuck? Oh yeah. So we've talked about this, and don't cut me off.
I'm fine.
Really Zombie apocalypse. Scare the shit out of me. Shut up.
I'm gonna...
Stop. Don't say what you're thinking, because I know what you're thinking. Because in the event that there was, in the hypothetical that a disease was spread and that the animals didn't stop it, that the plants were, like, infected, that we, like, are fucking whatever supply.
So we're helpless. Like, there's nothing we can do.
We're helpless. There's nothing we can do. That's what fucking scares me.
Mm-hmm. Just, like, not being able to do anything.
And they're these mindless beings that it doesn't matter if they die because there's just going to be more.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, like, and there's also, like, the method of how, like, you become, like, a zombie. Like, is it, like, when you die, no matter if you die because a zombie bit you or killed you, like,
because that's in Walking Dead. If you die, like, there was a woman who died during childbirth in it, and she became a zombie immediately after she died.
I don't know if it's, like, this, like, resting, like, chemical or, like, infection, and it just activates
no show has ever explained it really.
Yeah, but, like, when you get bitten by a zombie, that you could, like, possibly help. Like, you could live your whole life, like, just running and, like...
Yeah, because there were people in the show who, like, cut off arms and shit.
Yeah, and, you know, in, like, The Last of Us, have you ever played that game?
Mm-mm.
It's really fucking good. But, like, there's those people who are immune. Like, Ellie was, like, this girl who got bit, but she never turned to a zombie because she had something that, like, covered her brain, and they tried to, like, take it, but then her, like, father figure in the game, Joel, who, like, had delivered her to the place that they were gonna, like, examine her, stole her back because he didn't want her to die, and there was no way that she wouldn't have died.
Yeah, because they're trying to cut open your brain and take stuff from it. They're like, gimme.
Yeah, gimme. But there's also that aspect of, like, why them? Like, what kind of chemical, what kind of, like, genetic compilation caused them to be immune to it. Because it's so fucking spooky. I don't like it. And they're, like, all dead and gross and smelly probably, and it makes scary noises. And
just to clarify what Angel's talking about with me cutting them off, we've had this conversation about zombies before, because in a real life zombie scenario, the most likely thing would happen is that animals and insects that eat dead matter, you know, like dead animals, dead things like that, would kill a zombie apocalypse in like 3 days. Like, I read an article, this scientist was like, if there was a zombie apocalypse, it wouldn't get very far because, one, you can't move if you're dead, your muscles deteriorate, and two, insects and animals would eat you immediately. Well, like maggots and things, like animals, bugs would eat them and destroy them in, like,
here's my
3 days.
To that.
Here's your refute. You can go for it. Like, that's just what I've read. I've read that, like, there's no possible scenario. But if there was...
in the, like, scenario of you being dead and you're a zombie and, like, your muscles are deteriorating, zombies are always, like, fucking gross and half dead. Like, that's their whole thing is, like,
well, they all should be crawling then, and we'd be able to curb stomp them.
But it depends on, like, what it's caused by. Because, again, like, if it's, like, it's like an infection that's alive inside of you. That's
true. If it is, because, like, I think the most likely zombie apocalypse scenario is not that when you're dead it happens. It's you have to be alive, and it's just like a parasite. So, because, like, there's this parasite
that's what I'm
that takes
about.
over ants that goes into their brain and turns them into, like,
I heard about that.
Mindless drones. And basically all they want to do is eat and eat and eat and, like, provide for the parasite until finally the fungus grows out of their head and they die.
Yeah.
And then they don't move anymore. So I think that's the only way a zombie apocalypse could happen.
Yeah.
Is if it was some kind of parasite or fungus that can only use you when you're alive.
Yeah, and, like, I think, you know, while you're, like, being used by whatever it was, you could possibly, like, deteriorate because you're not taking care of yourself like an actual human would.
Like, if you die, they can't use you anymore. Yeah. I don't think that there could be a zombie apocalypse where the dead rise. Like, I just don't think that that's... Because, like, there's no cases in... Like, if there's a case in nature of it happening, I think it could happen to a human.
I think there's been, like, parasites that have, like, taken over, like, decomposed bodies and, like, been able to make them, like, move around because, like, of, like, muscle manipulation. Like, you know how squids move when they're, like, doused with soy sauce because their muscles are, like, reacting still.
Oh, yeah.
Even though they're not alive. There's, like, stuff like that, but I don't think they could physically make them eat something or anything like that.
Drink water.
Yeah.
Drink water, kids.
Yeah.
Hydration is important.
But,
yeah, my take on zombies is I just think that they couldn't happen unless you're alive.
I also think that, like, the situation I explained to you, like, of a chemical, like, explosion.
Yeah.
Like, in, like, downtown, like, let's say, New York, just fucking exploded. And there was, like, these thousands, like, hundreds of thousands of people being infected by it so quickly and, like, just taking, like, all these munches and bites out of, like, normal people. And then that's how it spreads also. That would be, like, crazy. But I don't know if it would be, like, uncontainable.
Yeah, I feel like our government is pretty good at I don't know. We've never had a situation.
I know.
Well, not right now.
See, like, we want to build a wall right now. For,
around
around, quote unquote,
the
aliens.
Yeah. Somebody, I read a thing one time, it was a comic, and it's like, there's no reason, there's no Area 51. And I was like, what? And it was like, because if there was, Trump would have tweeted about it. Yeah. And I was like, have you ever seen Independence Day? They did not tell the president about Area 51 and Independence Day. Because they were like, we only have a select number of people who know about Area 51. And the president is not on there because the president changes so much.
Yeah. But, I don't remember what movie this was. I don't remember if it was, like, Z Nation or something. But they had a wall around, like, this town.
Oh, it was 28 Days Later. No, it wasn't. It was the Z War one.
The zombies, like, piled up.
I think Brad Pitt
and
was
fell over. And that was, like, the scariest fucking thing to me.
An unstoppable force, especially one that looks humanoid, is not great.
Yeah. But, we are running out of time pretty rapidly.
I figured that we could go to, like, an hour and 10 minutes. So there'd be plenty of time to, like... Because we've hit an hour so far. Yeah. And I didn't realize... I'm so dumb. I literally have one on my phone right now. And I'm mad because there's one on the computer.
No, I hit it.
It's okay.
If
you just heard a quick bump, that is because Angel just...
is a fucking idiot. I really want Subway.
Knocked into it. Well, it might have stopped raining, so we might be able to go. But I guess that's just the end of our zombie tangent. Because zombies, I think, fall into supernatural. They're more of horror, but, like, that's in the supernatural, right?
I mean...
That and, like, werewolves and vampires and shit.
Ugh.
That's, like, a whole
werewolves
other...
That's
real. A whole other podcast.
Vampires? Maybe.
That's, like, a whole other podcast.
That's, like, hard, maybe.
Definitely. I want to talk about those.
I do,
100%.
Too.
Because there are people who think they're...
Because, I mean...
vampires.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Love it.
We love that.
We love...
So, we are pre-Valentine's Day.
Oh, we are.
So, what are your plans for Valentine's Day?
I have class. I have class until 10. Curls has class from 6 to, like, 8.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We might do something this weekend. I don't know. I have work, though, a lot of the time, too. And my car is going to be in the shop. So, like, we aren't really... He doesn't like Valentine's Day very much. He thinks it's kind of commercials. And he, like, buys me stuff, you know, on not, like, normal. Like, he'll see something and be like, oh, I thought you'd like... Like, he doesn't like the whole idea. He doesn't buy me flowers. He thinks they're overpriced, which I agree with. I'd rather him buy me, like, a plant. Like, he bought me a tiny cactus last year for Valentine's Day, which I really liked, and it's in our windowsill. So I don't really have any major plans. Like, I talked to him, and I was like, what do you want to do? And he was like, are we doing something?
Yeah.
We've been dating a while, and we never really do anything for Valentine's Day. So maybe maybe that Friday I'll be like, let's go out to dinner. Let's go to a nice dinner. Mm-hmm. Somewhere we don't go. Like Carrabba's. He's going to turn me down because he's like, Carrabba's isn't good. But I love Carrabba's.
I don't know what me and Devil are going to do.
I love...
But, because, like, I know that he wants to do something because this is our first Valentine's Day together.
He's such a gushy ball.
He's such a gushy fucking boy.
He really...
And it's so obvious that he cares about me, like, so much. And I care about him so much. So, like, I know that we both want to do something, but I don't know what the fuck. Because we did have that cute, like, date plan. Of, like, you know, looking at the stars and shit. But it's been rainy and cloudy and cold.
It really has been the worst possible time to do something like that.
And the week before was, like, fine. Like, it was clear skies.
Nice week.
And now that I'm probably going to be in this living arrangement a little bit longer. Oh, your party, bitch. I'm so excited. Fucking Blondie's having a little party.
I do. I haven't had one in a while.
We are going to get wholesomely lit with cranberry juice.
And some my parties are so lame to other people.
No, they're not.
It's just me and my friends, and we, like, dance, or we watch movies, or, like, we hang out. I don't invite randos because I don't like everybody. Mm-hmm. So I just invite, like, 10 people that I'm friends with.
Yeah, we only invite cool people.
The coolest people to come.
But, well, I mean, I guess in, like, party terms, you could say it's lame. But I don't think they're lame because they're fun. But, like, I guess people think of parties as more, like, like a shit ton of people like fucking up a mansion.
I don't know.
I got invited to a mansion party.
I've never been to a real party.
I've
only ever been to parties I've hosted.
I've only ever been to like one like
Rager.
There
was a kid in high school who used to have these huge parties on Halloween,
and that's when I made the mistake of a cowboy.
Ugh.
Yeah. Hopped in the saddle and hopped right back out.
I don't know. I just like having like those kind of chill parties where it's like
like
everyone's hanging out,
and then like if there is like a dance.
I love to cook, so I make a lot of food.
Yeah.
People don't pay me back.
Yeah.
Not great.
But
I always am like,
I'm trying to fucking upgrade our friends, man. It's like I just don't have enough coins yet
to upgrade our friends.
Yeah.
I have like half my friends are like my boyfriend and my sister, and that's kind of sad. My sister called me the other day when I was in the mall because she was like, we haven't talked in a little while. It had been 2 days since we had talked. She's like, I'm in the car going to the grocery store to get potatoes. And I was like, oh. So I talked to her for a little bit about, like, you know, she went to the beach and, like, what kind of potato things she was making. And she cuts onions.
We love purple.
She cuts onions with little goggles, like those onion goggles. Oh, I just love my sister so much.
I don't talk to any of my family.
Yeah, like, apparently, my aunt used to tell me this when I was a kid. She was like, you and your sister and brother are weirdly close, which is fair. We were really close when we were kids, and then we got moved, and we were the only two people I knew were my siblings.
Yeah.
So, like, we played together and talked together and only hung out with each other because, like, what else were we going to do? Yeah. We didn't have any friends. So, like, we got super close there, and we've just been close ever since. It also helps we're close age ranges.
Yeah.
Like, it was bam, bam, bam.
See, like, I was a baby of my family. Like, I was a baby. Like, the closest, like, age relation I had was, like, 6 years older than me.
Yeah, my sister is 2 years older than me. My brother is 18 months younger than me.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think my sister and brother would be as close if they are.
I'm literally half my sister's
like, the bridge.
Age.
Yeah, that's your sister's.
A bitch.
I was going to say that, but yeah. I don't like her. She's not very nice to me.
None of my family's very nice to anyone.
None of your family is nice, and I'm very nice to them.
And I'm so nice. So it's so weird. I just don't know how I came from them. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't fucking understand.
I hope everybody's enjoying this little look into our lives. I
figured we'd end on a more positive.
Yeah, I think that ending it on zombies is like, and like, oh, you might not be able to stop it, so accept death. It's kind of a harsh one, so it's nice to talk about.
We could make it into a thing, like we talk about like our plans for like something special for like the weekend. Like, what are y'all doing? Leave a comment below.
I don't like when people say like, click subscribe and just do what you like. If
you know
they
what
like it,
I like Curtis Connor when he's like,
you get an extra greeting.
How are you? And he's like, hey, how are you? It's really great to see you. And he's like, oh, you get an extra greeting.
I like that. I just hate it when the girl's like, stop. Before you watch my video, make sure to like and subscribe. She's
instantly like some dumb slut. she's like,
my voice is like, when I was a kid, I was like, my voice is so deep. And then I like listened back on this, and I was like, holy shit, I sound like fucking Barbie.
I sound like a fucking grown man when I speak.
I don't believe that.
But I'm like, oh my god, my friend asked me if I was like a lolly last night. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he was like your aesthetic, like, are you supposed to be, like, a lolly? And I was like, no. And he was like, no, you're little. And I was like, oh, no.
I just feel like if they like the video, they'll like it. And if they want to subscribe, they'll subscribe.
You're still
so
stuck
why
on
do you have to say it?
All right.
I don't like it when people tell me what to do.
Okay. So, this has been another fucking podcast. I'm not quite sure how this is gonna go, where this is gonna go, but I had a good time.
I had a wonderful time.
I thought we got into some great topics and great conversations. My mind is active as of right now.
I don't know if I want to just film one. Maybe I'll film another. I don't know. Maybe I'll go crazy.
Nate, can we walk to Subway first?
Ew, it's raining.
Please.
I don't have my umbrella.
We probably have one. Anyways, I'm gonna make Blondie walk to Subway.
I'm gonna
whether she
fight
wants
against
to or
it.
not. So, I guess this is our ollie outie.
I was gonna say, we don't have a very good outro yet, so I feel like we should have one.
Oh, let's do our jingle.
We don't have a jingle.
We can make one on the spot.
No. No, I already am disagreeing. I'm just gonna. This is
podcast.
I think that the best way to end a podcast that's stupid.
I'll do it quieter so you can talk over.
This has been Blondie, an angel, with another fucking podcast. If you liked what you heard, then you can watch another one that I'll post in like a week or so. I don't know what my schedule is going to be, because I'm new to this, so please, I don't care if you go easy. I mean, if you make fun of me, you're a stranger. You don't know me.
You don't know me. But anyways.
You're not my dad.
Thank you for listening. Hope
right.
you have a great week, and we'll see you in about 7 days. You didn't end it. You have to press stop.